justice mode in the next couple of hours. And, of course, we're covering two big trials. That's the Aaron Hernandez trial and the American Sniper trial, both murder cases. Take a look at this.
But he admits that he murdered these two men, that he used drugs and alcohol that morning, and that he knew what he was doing was wrong.
And the tragedy that occurred down there is that while they were attempting to help him, he took their lives. And when he took their lives, he was in the grip of a psychosis.
He said that he killed two guys. They went out to a shooting range, and he's like, he's all crazy. He's psychotic.
In fact, he didn't not only know it was not wrong, he thought in his mind at that point in time that it was either him or them.
And it's a topic many of you are debating on Twitter. Was Eddie Ray Routh legally insane when he killed American sniper Chris Kyle, as well as his friend Chad Littlefield? And that, of course, did he know the difference between right and wrong? Now, the film American Sniper has topped the box office. It's been nominated for Best Picture. It's been nominated for Oscars, doing very well there. So it's a movie that you're tweeting an awful lot about, and now it's a real-life counterpart, and that's playing out right there in that Texas courtroom. And, of course, joining me to talk about this, attorney and radio personality Mo Ivory. She's in Atlanta. So, Mo, the court is playing those confession tapes right now, okay, in that courtroom as we speak. And look at this Twitter, all right? Look at this tweet from one of our producers in the courtroom. Routh admits he knew, right? He knew it was wrong to kill Kyle and Littlefield. So in the event there's that admission, how bad is that for the defense, Mo?
Oh, it's bad. It's very bad. I mean, that is the crux of this case. Did he know when he was killing them that it was wrong? That basically is all that they're asking. And he, in his own voice, says that he knows it was wrong. But then there's also a whole lot of evidence being presented by the defense that even despite that, the victim himself, Chris Kyle, thought this man was crazy. So it's really going to be about whether the jurors believe that that word wrong and the admission by Eddie Ray Routh is enough to say, well, then he definitely knew it was wrong and he was not in the middle of a psychotic breakout.
That's the big question. And also another big question, Mo, I just want to talk about the whole drug issue. You know, we heard the prosecution open on the fact that that is in their opening statements that, hey, guess what he was doing? That's Routh. He was smoking wet marijuana and he was drinking. And then, of course, we've heard testimony that in that home, right, marijuana, we know that there were bottles of alcohol, we know there was prescription medication. So just talk about the drugs themselves. How is that going to play into this case if the jury thinks that he was drugged up or high as opposed to having a mental health issue?
Sure. Well, you know, it's about the recreational use of the drugs, right? The prosecutor is going to paint the picture that this guy was, you know, every day, like normal enough to decide that he wanted to take recreational drugs and he wanted to drink and, you know, he was having a good time at home, you know, but watching, you know, television and getting high and sitting around. And that's not the actions of a psychotic person. That it wasn't, you know, that he was acting this way because of his psychotic medication only. He was making conscious decisions to get high. He was drinking. He was in his right mind to make those kind of decisions. And of course, the defense is going to say, no, he was self-medicating. He was using these things to prevent, you know, the depression that he was feeling and the thoughts that he was having about Satan and about the government watching him and all of these other things. It wasn't a thought like, oh, I think I'll just get high today as a pleasurable thing, but as a way to self-medicate. So it's the two arguments, and it's just what the jury will believe.
And Mo, I have to ask you this question before we go, and that is, listen, we know and we'll remind the audience that when it comes to insanity, it's only used in 1% of the cases, and even, Mo, in those 1% of the cases, 25% of those, so 1 in 4, actually, the jury buys it. So in this case, do you think they have a shot, number one, that is the defense, if they show it's more likely than not he was insane, and what's the most compelling evidence that you would put before that jury, Mo, if you're on the defense to show my guy didn't know right from wrong?
Yeah, right now, I think with this confession, I think it really is leaning, and this is totally just my opinion. If I was a juror, I would be believing that he knew what he was doing on that day. He knew it was wrong. I think he was somewhat, I'm really interested in seeing the psychological evaluation from the doctor, because I think that that's going to really show whether, what the jurors can really consider.
Mo, we appreciate you. Don't go anywhere. Viewers at home, don't go anywhere. Chris Kyle's life as a sniper not only took a toll on him, but also his wife. Up next, a look inside their relationship and how his time with his wife seeped into their personal life. But first, a look at the woman behind Chris Kyle, his widow, Taya.